good morning, beautiful souls. It is your girl, Sav, the Wealthy Genius. So I wanted to come in here just to talk about your journey, right? And when you keep leveling up. So when I say that, I mean that your energy, your heart changes, right? But as a result, so does your life. It tangibly changes. Now, it might not happen overnight. For most successful people, it does actually take them years. But here's something that successful people know, is they compound those daily habits, right? They compound those micro shifts, because it is the domino effect. As you build, as you show up, as you go online, as you move your body, as you do your breath work, as you meditate, right? As you learn that you don't need any of it to decide. It's so funny. And you just be in that state anyway. What happens is the compounding effect starts to show itself, right? So you start to receive results. And honestly, in my case, with my clients, it's pretty fucking fast. Like, it's really fast, and it continues to grow. It can be a week or 2 weeks, and all of a sudden 10K has dropped in, like it's so good, right? Or there can be something that they've been waiting for years, and boom, just like that, it lands. So that's my first point, right? Is around those daily habits, micro shifting, and knowing who you are. And the other thing that I wanted to say actually about wealth and riches, and I learned this very, very early on, was because I was in a couple of groups. It's actually hilarious now when I think about it. Some of the wealthiest people you will not even know are that wealthy, because they just don't show it. They just don't show it. I remember actually someone from when I was young who was it was very rich in Austria. And you just wouldn't know, because he just wore like t-shirt and jeans and trainers every day. So don't get confused between shiny rich and wealthy. So for example, like I'm sitting in my car, right? Case in point, my car is not a luxury car at the moment. And I know that you have to be a good steward of money, right? So you invest your money into things that are going to give you a return. And of course, you can manifest a new car anytime you like. For now, this serves me well with where I'm at currently in my journey, right? But my point around it is, wealthy people have really amazing habits, right? So they have patterns that they build with their money. So even if they, for example, are starting out in their business, they'll have a bucket for investments. They have a bucket for savings. They'll know where all their money goes. This is not the same as being tight, rigid, or restricted with cash. Because honestly, if you want to live in certainty, you do actually have to put your money where your mouth is and take a risk to show you that you are greater than anything you were afraid of. So that was my second point. And then my third point really is around not hanging out in places too long. And when I say that, I mean that in a really broad general way, but it's about your experience. So for example, you might have an experience where you go to a restaurant and you love it. It's so amazing, right? It's so beautiful. And then so as a result, you want to create a habit where you go to the same restaurant all the time. And that's not good, right, wrong, or bad, or anything along those lines. But you've got to understand the nuance when God is saying to you, like, come over here today, right? It's because it's a beautiful balance of structure and flow. You cannot have the flow without the frame, which is why frameworks are so powerful. But to just have the flow, it's got nothing to show its beauty, right? Like a river that doesn't go, like, it has no bank to lean on. Anyway, so my point is, it's the same in your journey, right? So for example, I'm at a level now where most of the words that leave my mouth are just positive, right? They're just framed in the positive when I'm in my own life. Even with my coaching clients and things like that, I reframe everything in the positive. But not everyone's at that level. And God knows I wasn't. So they might use their words to express how they're feeling so that they can remember who they are. And that's totally fine. So when you are moving through your own journey, remember that there are going to be higher levels, but it's also being consciously aware about what works for you, what you're being pulled into, and then also how to address other people, especially if you're in business, around your clients. Now, I do challenge my clients. I am quite direct. It's really not for the faint of heart. But I do it from love, right? Because you are whole and perfect now, and it's just a reminder. And we all need that sometimes, right? We all need that loving reminder to get off your ass, stop mucking about, and get back on track. And then sometimes we just need to be held, and we just need to be accepted and loved and just be who we are. Honestly, I don't hang out there very often anymore, I've got to be honest. But it is about doing what works and then just flowing with life, right? In the frame and the structure. So if you are wanting to be wealthy in your genius, now your genius is God-given, so God can deliver you a new idea at any time, and you have core gifts. One of my core gifts is the gift of wisdom, insight, and observation. So I can very, very quickly build a whole process, structure, framework out based on one question. Someone can give me one question, I can see all of the gold from it, and then it continues to unravel itself. So I do, that's one of my gifts. I also have truth and sensitivity. When you come to me, whatever's been hiding it will just come up and out. It's beautiful, right? Because then what we do is, once that is, your attention has been taken off it, because your attention's been silently on it for a long time, you can then put your attention on what you want. And when you put your attention on what you want, because everything's been created, God created everything, right, in the 6 or 7 days. 7 days, by 7th day he rested. Then you're just tuning into what's already been created for you. And then that means you're living that way, right? And it continues to increase, right? It's not like you just get to one point and then you don't experience anymore, you don't have any more goodness, you don't have any more love, you don't have any more money, you don't have any more to contribute. I mean, there's like over 8 billion people in the world, right? You've got so much that you can do, and there's so much life to live. And actually, this is one of the questions that I took enragment with, and it was actually really funny when my child asked me this morning, and we were talking about it, and she said, you know, if I was sick and I only had this much time left to live, I would go and travel all the countries. I'll tell you what else she said. It's kind of interesting to hear as a parent, actually. But honestly, that's what life is for. It's really for living. And of course, you don't have to like spend all your energy trying to just go and live as if you've only got tomorrow. But there is value in that. There's a huge amount of value in that, because it moves you out of Groundhog Day, and it moves you out of apathy, and it moves you into super specific focus as to what your purpose is here, the people you can help right now, the people you want to help in the future, your own life and their own goodness, and also getting closer to God, right? So that you keep moving up in the levels. So if you like this video, please like, share, comment, ask any questions below, and I will answer them in other videos. And if you want to work with me, send a DM. I've got my 100k frequency wealth accelerator, where we actually do get into that, like if you only had so much time, because the acceleration part, right, and you hear this from other people, right, when you go to heaven and you see that energy and you're at that level, it powers you through your journey. It's so powerful, and it's so loving, and it's so good. So often you can trigger people just because you're loving life, just because you're healthy, and just because you don't want to join them at their level. And it's got nothing to do with compassion. It's actually more compassionate to pull them up than it is to join them in the misery. And sometimes there is a time and place to join them, to pull them up, only if you're strong enough to pull both of yourselves up. All right, guys, have an awesome day. And of course, if you want to do the online course, pay for that as well, and buy that too, because it was brilliant. All right, take it easy.